Good morning.
Good morning.
It's the most wonderful time of the year. Can you believe it? I walk in and I'm like, wow, this is Christmas already. And we have our tree decorated. We need lights though. So,
Oh,
got to get lights.
yeah. The lights add a lot of life to it.
Wow. I'm just, honestly, I don't know why, but as I get older, I feel like it comes faster.
Oh,
When you're a kid, it takes forever.
yeah. Yeah. To me, it was like it was Halloween and now it's Christmas. So
Yes. That is super true, super true. So, well, thank you so much, Eva, for joining us this morning. How you been?
good. Busy. Um, so that's always nice. But I took a couple of days off to enjoy the holidays and then decorate my house for Christmas.
Yes, that's and I seen everybody decorating and decorating their homes and stuff. So that's always the nice part, is decorating, and it makes you realize a few things when you're buying a home. You want to people are looking when they're looking. They're like, where would I put my Christmas tree? Or where would
Mhm.
I put certain things? And then the storage. Do I
Oh,
have
yeah.
enough storage?
The
Where to
pins.
store it? That's another thing, whether it be garage or wherever, in your totes, putting it, there's so many different places, but that's always, something that people ask for, is there enough storage or, a place where we can put our stuff? So that's always really nice. So
Yeah.
that's good. That's good to hear. Yes, Thanksgiving came and went. And, you spend so much time in the kitchen cooking and in work, or even days in advance, prepping for your meal, and then it's gone. It's gone. But yeah, but it's always a great, a great meal, where, you get to spend time with those that matter, and just enjoy it, all the hard work that you put into it. I'm sure, did you cook everything this year?
Nope.
No.
This year I was assigned side dishes and some desserts, so I went to it, and it makes it so much easier. But we're also gonna do. I did buy a small turkey for us, so we're kind of gonna do our little Thanksgiving turkey here with George and the boys. So that'll be nice.
Yes, absolutely. And I'm going to tell you something. I saw your recipe, with the celery and the
Oh,
olives, and I seen that, and I'm going to tell you, you inspired me. So I made stuffing for the first time ever,
oh
like from
wow!
scratch.
How
Yeah,
awesome is that?
yeah. So when I saw that, I'm like, you know what? That looks super good. I think I'm going to try it. So,
Yeah,
um, I made, like I said, I made stuffing for the first time ever, and we actually
nice,
stuffed it in the turkey, and it was gone. Like, it was so good, it was gone.
awesome.
And
Love
it
to
was,
hear that.
yeah. And so we were driving home last or the other night, and Francisco was like, we need to make some more of that stuffing for Christmas. Like, it was super good. It was really good. So,
Yeah.
thank you for that. I wanted to thank you for that.
Oh, yeah, no worries. That's like a 9-year-old recipe. Well, no, I wrote that down as a 9-year-old. So, and on that same piece of paper, and I've held on to it ever since.
Aw.
So, yeah, it has special meaning.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. Yeah, no, and it's like I said, you shared it, and now I was like, maybe that's something I can do. And so
Yeah,
look,
I think it's fun.
yeah, so it's neat. I'm trying to see who on here. Um, Someone said good morning. Oh, it's Josie. That's why, because it doesn't show
Oh,
her name. So
Miss
good morning,
Josie.
Josie. Thank you for joining us this morning. Good morning. Hope you guys had a fantastic Thanksgiving as well. Regardless of it being Thanksgiving, there was still a lot of activity. We still got a lot of calls. We still have a lot of people, like, and I think even more so, like we're saying, they're spending time in their home, and they're realizing, man, I would love to have a bigger kitchen, or a bigger area to entertain. It was
Yeah.
really windy, so a lot of people who
Oh,
had
yeah.
plans to do things outside, that just didn't work either. So, So yeah, so there's just a lot of different reasoning for people wanting to, move, and you can always move, your equity to, from one home to another. I had someone message me over the weekend saying, humor me was how they started it, and tell me what my payment would be if I were to do this, go from here to there, just so I know like kind of what the difference is. So
Right.
and I just also wanted to remind, you agents that are watching, that if the client is 55 and older and they've been in their home for some time, their taxes can be transferred. And that's
Yeah.
anywhere in California now. It was limited before,
Per
but
county,
it's
right?
still, I'm
And now
sorry?
it was limited before per county, and now it's
Yeah.
like all of California. Yeah.
Yeah, you had to go from Riverside to Riverside, or San Bernardino County to San Bernardino County, LA to LA. There was some exception, but for the most part, it was pretty difficult. And
Yeah.
so they changed that. So make sure you're definitely taking advantage of that. I have a client who had no clue. They bought their home, for 100,000, 25 years ago, and now they're buying another home for 720,000. And guess what? They're taking their taxes with them.
That's
So
awesome.
yeah, and see, that was another thing. Before, you weren't able to do that. You had to sell for like price. It had to be equal or less than. Now there's no, that doesn't exist anymore. So now it's okay if you sell for 650 and buy something for 750. You're okay.
Yeah.
To
Now
transfer
you
those.
almost have to.
Right. So that's why I tell people, it's always good to know and to make sure you guys, because if you go to someone and they say, "Hey, what would my payment be?" and you tell them, "Oh, it's going to be 2,500," but yet it would have been 2,100 because the tax difference, that would have made a difference in the sale.
Hmm.
That could have make a difference. So always make sure that you're doing your research. You're definitely asking if you're not sure, and seeing what possibilities are available for your clients. That's what that's what we're paid for, right?
Right.
that's
Right.
that's what we're fighting for, the our commissions. Everyone says we get paid too much, but if we're going to save you money, I don't think
Oh,
you're
we
going to
do a
say that.
lot of background work.
Yeah, they think that we just show up, and it's not that easy.
It's
And
funny you say that because yesterday that happened. My clients and I were looking at a house in Chino, and the house went pending next door, but it was already close to nearing finishing their escrow. Something like the appraisal had to been done already, right?
right.
So I text the agent and I said, "Hey, did your appraisal come in value?" And she says, "Absolutely, without any issues." So that gave me an inclination of what the value for the house, two houses down, was going to come in at. Obviously, some minor differences, but those are the kinds of things that we as agents do, in the background that nobody knows about.
Oh no, nobody knows that. And um, it's funny because I don't know if you've ever experienced this, but I know other agents have. Because I speak to them all the time, where their clients write offers, they're uncertain about which home, um, and maybe they feel better about one or the other. There's just a lot of uncertainty. Maybe they're scared, or they think it's been too easy because obviously they hear how hard it is to get into a home, and when they have first option, they get nervous. Well, what I like to do, and I tell the agents, sometimes it's all about psychology, and a lot of times I like to use reverse psychology on them, because that way they feel a little bit more excited about it. So basically, I'll give you an example. I had a client who, we sent out three offers, and with those three offers, um, there was only one agent who was, you were vibing with, like this person wants to work with you. The other ones were kind of ghosting you, not responding or anything
Yeah.
else. So because I know that, I wasn't necessarily telling the client anything. I mean, a lot of things that I do, I don't really let them know what it is that I'm doing. So what I did was, I was just letting him know, what, we heard on the first property, it looks like we're not getting that one. I'm like, but we still have this one and that one. And I was just kind of just telling him, what, this one, they have so many offers. They're not sure if they're even going to counter us. The agent's telling me they're going to see, what, the seller is going to pick the top offers. They just don't know which ones yet. Um, so they were like, "Oh man, do you think we're going to have a chance?" I'm like, "I don't know." And all this is like kind of like made up per se. I mean, they did have a lot of offers, but I was just kind of adding to it a little bit. Um, Although the agent did tell me, Sonia, honestly, I didn't want to counter your offer, but the seller wants to give your client an opportunity because your offer was the lowest of them all. However, you're the only agent responding. You're the only agent, communicating with me. So I just gave him that feedback, and he says, "Well, I think we should give them an opportunity to bring their offer up." So anyhow, like I said, I was just kind of just telling them, "Oh man, I don't know. There's so many offers. They may not go with ours, blah blah blah." So I had him all hyped up, and then we get a counter offer, and basically it's highest and best. And we did come in low. We did, and it was because it was their first time writing an offer. And again, sometimes they have to feel that they tried that and it didn't work, so now they're gonna be a little bit more aggressive because they really did like the home. So, anyways, to make a long story short, they ended up getting the home.
Mm,
But I didn't tell them right away. They
mhm.
called. We ended up getting the house, and I called them. I had them on edge. I'm like, I'm not sure yet. We're gonna find out how bad you guys want this because you guys need to pray about it. Like, and they're like, we want it, we want it, we want it. And I'm like, okay, well, you guys just keep praying because this might be the one. And if it's the one, like I already knew it was theirs, but I wanted them to want it because I didn't want them to second guess themselves to be like, we overbid it and we don't want it anymore. They have remorse, they have regret. So I really feel psychology is a huge portion of what it is that we do as well. And so I'm telling you, it worked. The minute I told them, guess what? I have news. I have good news and I have bad news. What do you want first? They're like, oh my God. So of course, once I told them that they got the home, they were just beside, oh my God, Sonia, how did you make it happen? What happened? And so again, it's just all those things.
Right.
And but I wanted your feedback. Like how are you seeing the market now? Like what are you feeling? We always talk about that the just is what's out there, and everyone has different experiences. So just curious what you're seeing out there right now.
I just think now there's more flexibility. Definitely. I've been saying it for a few months now for the buyers. And so my last three transactions that I've closed have all been under asking price. So there's definitely room for negotiation. One, we went as far as 35,000 under. So I just think some people, like you said, get the deer in the headlights and they get scared and they're like, oh, you know, if for example, if I put something on the MLS that's like 750, but their budget's 735, and they're like, oh my gosh, no, because we're going to have to bid higher than that. And I'm like, no, not necessarily. I take a look at a lot of factors. How long has the house been on the market? Or have they taken the house off and put it back on? And so a lot of things go into play, and that's when we do the research for them. But
Yeah,
definitely, I think that now it's starting to shift more towards a buyer's market. And so I think, like I've been telling my buyers, hey, you're up. You're up. This is your opportunity right now, is your time to shine. Rates are still low, and there's room for negotiation, especially when homes have been just sitting there, and I've also found that if it's an investor home, they don't like it to sit because that's their money. And so they're more apt to negotiate with you. I know
yes,
that they have their agents, and their agents is like, send me an offer. I'll present it. Just send it to me. Send it to me now. They don't want to lose money because that's their next, flip or their next opportunity. So with them, time is truly money. So I like to find those little, jewels and pass on the savings to my client. So definitely. I think that now we have a very, not as far as like the market, but now we have a savvier buyer because we have the internet. It's kind of like a slew of information at their fingertips. So you need to be, as an agent, on your A game completely. Not no, just now. I think always you need to be on your A game because they come to you as a source of accurate information. Anyone can give them information, but hands down, if you give them the correct and true information 100% of the time, they're going to believe in what you're telling them, refer you clients, and just have an overall great experience with their purchase or, selling. So I think that now more than ever, with technology at everybody's fingertips, we need to be on our A game. And like they said, oh, agents get paid too much. No, we earn that because of the level of knowledge we bring to the game. You know, all these open doors and Zillow listings. You don't get to talk to an agent. You really don't. If you have a question that arises, if you have a situation or a fire that needs to be put out, that's not something that those types of agencies are going to do for you. So that's what I've been seeing in the market anyway.
Yeah. No, and I agree. I do see right now, pricing is super important. Um, and if you have to be able to communicate, with your seller, you can't be afraid to be honest. Like you're saying, some of those agents who have overpriced and promised certain things to their seller, and now they're like desperate for an offer. But other agents sense your desperation. They know your home's been sitting. I'll give you an example. I got an offer accepted probably 2 weeks ago, maybe. And the guy told me, you know what, we have multiple offers. We want highest and best, we want this, we want that. And my clients really wanted this home. They weren't the first ones chosen. And so we didn't end up getting it. And I want to say like 4 days later, the agent calls me. I seen him calling my cell phone, and I'm like, okay, those people didn't perform, because he told me. He said, I said, what was the difference? Why did you take their offer over ours? And he said, Sonia, it wasn't price. They had more money in the bank. I said, but my clients don't need that money in the bank. Like, what is that money in the bank going to do for your seller? I don't understand. And I told him that they're both FHA loans. They're both, that person's putting a little bit more down. My client isn't. But what does that have to do with them? I told him, I'm telling you, my clients are motivated. Like, to me, I rather take an agent and a client who's on it than someone who just threw an offer at me that looks better on paper. So I was trying to explain that to him, and he says, I'm sorry, that, but that's their choice. Okay, fine, whatever. So the next week I was getting ready to look up some more properties to take them out. And I noticed that another home that we had wrote an offer on was back available. And it was a Redfin agent who was super unprofessional. The first time I spoke to her, she was horrible. And this is why I tell you that when I called her, it had been on the market 35 plus days, in and out of escrow. I saw that, and I called her, and she says, "You know what, Mike? If you're willing to send me just a asking price offer, I can probably get it executed tonight. We can open escrow tomorrow." Those were her words to me. Now, old Sonia would have told her buyers that, would have said, "Hey, this is what we got to do. She already told me it's in the bag. We're good to go." No, I don't say anything. We go, we see it, they like it. They ask me, "Where do you think we need to be as far as price?" I'm like, "Let's just offer asking." They're like, "Are you sure, Sonia?" Because they know everyone is going over. And I said, "Yeah, if it's meant to be, it's going to be." That's what I told them. And I didn't think that it was worth more than that, anyways. So I told them, "No, let's just write asking and let's go." I wrote that offer in the home. She had it within 30 minutes. And I stressed to them the urgency of me sending it right away. And so I sent it to her. As soon as I, left the property, I texted her, I called her. Nothing. No reply, no nothing. So we kept going. We saw other properties and whatever. But I'm like, I'm so glad I didn't say anything to them.
Hmm.
And because here I'm getting mad, inside, and I'm not saying anything to them. And so I'm just like, it's just probably not the right one. I I hear back from her like 3 days later. She's like, "Oh, I'm presenting tomorrow." I'm like, "What? That's not what you told me."
I know.
So then she ends up telling me another day and a half later that they went with a cash buyer, and then she's back on the market 2 weeks later. So I'm like, whatever. You know what? We could have been almost done with escrow, but you do you. So like I said, so I go, but this guy calls me on another home, and he's like, "Hey Sonia, are your buyers still interested?" I said, "Why? What's going on?" He's like, "These people haven't put in their earnest money deposit. I don't think they're serious." I'm like, "Oh," and that we had this conversation, you know. So I told them, yeah, they're absolutely serious. They want this home. You know, they're willing to, you know, to stick with their offer and go for it, whatever. So so again, they ended up taking our offer. We ended up getting into escrow, but just like you said, you know, they did a home inspection. We asked for, I don't know, probably 13 or 14 repairs, which included a brand new furnace, roofing repairs, just several different repairs, and they agreed to every single one of them. There was one, I think, which was minor, that they
Yeah.
said they weren't going to do, but everything else they agreed to do.
Nice.
I really, again, I just think it's super important that you are educating, your sellers, letting them know that, we're not in summer of 2021. That's history, and it was great for those who sold. They definitely got everything. You could have sold, a home that, oh my gosh, that was horrible, for top dollar. People would have fought for that, but not
Yeah.
anymore. They're being a little bit more picky. The only time I see most sellers will get, and this is why it's important to educate them. They're going to be able to get more, or they're going to be able to get multiple bids and higher than what they're asking, is if their home's in mint condition.
Hmm.
If they have it freshly painted, it's decluttered, even staged. Doing all those things makes a big difference, and I
Oh
think people
yeah.
visualize themselves in that home. Um, so I think that still will bring you the most for your money, for sure. Um, but not everybody can do that. So if you can't, and then just be realistic with them based on its condition. And that's typically what I ask when I talk to them: is there anything that doesn't work in your home? And a lot of times they don't realize. They're like, "No, everything's fine. There's nothing I can think of." And then the inspection comes, and it's like, "Oh, your this was out. Oh, you know what? We never even used it." So I got so used to it being like that I didn't even think about it.
Right.
So, like I said, there's a lot of things that we just need to make sure that they're aware of. And, definitely there's still a lot of buyers out there. I had a set of buyers come in last week to talk about the market, to talk about how everyone around them, they are in their late 20s, early 30s, I want to say, and they've been talking about buying a house for the last 3 years, and everyone has told them no, 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 don't do it, don't do it, don't do it. So they finally said, you know what, we decided that we're going to talk to someone else other than our friends and family to see what their thoughts are. And so I gave them all the information. I did a really, really in-depth buyer consultation with them. And the next day they messaged me and they said, you know what, Sonia, we're ready to move forward. We're ready. What are we waiting for? So yeah, so that's why I do encourage, because you are going to get people, who are going to say, well, you know, someone said this, that, or the other, and yeah, it's important to everyone's circumstances, and um, where they're at is different. So it's just important to get the information so you can make the best decision, for you and your family, or whoever it is you're buying for. Even
Right.
investing, I talk to them about, even if you don't want to live in it, investing, and just showing them different scenarios, worst case scenarios. And I think a lot of people like to know what worst case scenario is. So worst
Hmm.
case scenario, you'll be a renter just like you are now, right?
Yeah. I mean, I
You
can't
know?
tell you how many clients I've had that said, well, we're just going to wait till the market crashes, till the prices go down. This is 2019 and we're in 2021. Now the houses have doubled in price and they're like, oh my God, I can't believe I didn't do it when you were telling me, end of 2019, 2020, and I said, do you want to go into 2022 with the woulda, coulda, shoulda, or should
Right.
we do this now? I don't see the prices crashing. I see them stabilizing, but they're still going to be, it's California, it's not going to take a dive. As long as people have
Yeah.
money to buy and they're willing to pay, it's not going to change. So I just think that we have more people that are able to afford a payment now because of our, rates and loan offers that are out there. So you see a lot more people that were hesitant before taking a chance now, which is pretty exciting. I love that.
Yeah, and we had actually another person that came in actually with Nicole. She met him at an open house, and it's so funny because the guy was like, "Where are these people getting the money to afford these homes? I don't understand." And it's everyone's different in what they do. You have, you do have professionals out there. You do have people realizing that you're gonna have to rents are expensive, and they're gonna continue to go up.
Rents are more
So
expensive than a house payment right now
yeah. Hmm.
for a small, tiny house, too.
Yeah, that's not yours. That things can change from one day to the next, and that's one of the biggest things that I like to stress to some of them. And when their rents are going up is when they're like, yeah, it's already went up twice this year, or especially in apartments.
Mhm.
They're very notorious for definitely increasing. Whereas sometimes you find a homeowner who's like, you're good tenant, so I'll keep it there, for another year or so. But still doesn't change the fact that it can change at any time.
Oh, yeah. They decide to sell, and what are you going to do?
Yeah, absolutely. So, well, with the year coming, now we have about 30 some days left, right? I don't even know what we're on the 29th. So, yeah, about 32, 33 days left.
Yeah.
Um, in the year, I really highly encourage right now is the time to definitely reach out to your clients. If people love this time of year, everybody's pretty festive, or those who maybe aren't so festive because they've had a lot of loss. There has been a lot of loss as well. So just even the comfort, knowing that you thought about them, and it goes a long way. It really does. So reach out to your clients. To it's a great excuse, to be honest, to get to talk to someone maybe you haven't talked to and you should have. Maybe going into the new year, I've had a lot of people say, what, I want to do something, but I want to wait till the new year. I don't want people coming through my home, during Christmas, and I get it. I would probably be the same way. It's like it's kind of an intimate time, with your family. So totally get that. But just make sure you're following up, and that you're calling them and you're on top of it, so that way they see that you're on their mind as well. Always recommending sending calendars, because now you're with them for the whole year.
Mhm.
Everyone loves free things. Even if you get the small calendar magnets, they're going to stick it on their fridge, and it's good for 12 months. So
Mhm.
just do those little things. That way people will remember you throughout the year, and just stay in touch with them.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
So, well, we are going to get into Eva's quote of the week. So let's see what her quote is. You want to read it, Eva?
Oh, sure. It says, champion the right to be yourself, dare to be different, and to set your own pattern. Live your own life and follow your own star. I just think that's so important. That's kind of like what I live by. Um, because there's I I don't know. When I like to break the mold, so to speak, and you know my personality. It's kind of like I just very much do what feels right to me and what's going to be the best for my client, because everybody's different. So I honor that in my clients too. because, I feel that your client comes to you, and I don't know if it's some cosmic event, but your personalities kind of just align, and the right client will come to you, and you will work together in unison. Not to sound all crazy and cosmic, but I feel that you attract that client because of how you work. And I think that there's a client out there for everyone, and I just always choose to be myself. And I find that I attract clients that are all also themselves. So that's why I chose that today.
Yeah, that's nice. And it's so true, follow your own star. A lot of times, we want to say, I want to do just like that, but it's not going to come out the same. Just same thing, when, so you're so good at what you do, and but everyone puts just something a little bit different into it. Like
Yeah.
you're saying, you're going to mesh with that right client. And then there's some that you're not, and it's okay. It's okay to walk away from that too.
Right.
Um, but yeah, you give someone the same recipe, and everyone's going to add a little bit extra this or that, or not enough this or that, or leave it in longer than you should. So everyone's going to do it differently, uh, and so that's why, yes, follow your own, and live your own life. That's awesome.
Yep.
I really like that. Okay, so
I use the term blind eyes are dangerous a lot, actually. What it means is when you don't know what the rules are and you don't know how it's supposed to be done, you start innovating and creating. And it's a great insight because it does lead to curiosity. And I think that's why I've been able to continue to do unique things. My career is pretty much based on this blind eyes. I'm so undereducated in so many arenas, but I do a lot of things. I don't want to know how others did it. I'm gonna focus on the customers. That's what I care about. And so I don't need to know how somebody else did it because tomorrow is going to be a different version of yesterday.
So to that, I chose that because, how many times as agents do you hear like, oh, another agent telling you, I've been in the business, blah, 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 blah. But they don't change. They don't change or adapt to change because any industry, and especially ours, is constantly changing, and you have to be able to change and adapt. And so, like he said, yesterday is not what tomorrow is bringing. It's totally different. So I like to go by that as well. Like what works for you may not work for me. So I need to find my own path, and I need to find what works for me and that works for my clients. And to me, I love to think outside the box and just tap into that creativity, and how I can get a hold of the client, how I can get more referrals from them. So, I don't like to stick to one regime because I think that makes you complacent. And in this industry, you have to be kind of in front of the pack, always standing out, or else you're just going to get left behind.
absolutely. And no, I absolutely love that. Like you said, what, focus on, who's keeping you in business, more than anything. Yeah, of course you have to, there are things you got to know, especially in what we deal with. There's a lot of legalities and stuff like that. I get that. But like you're saying, at the end of the day, if we don't have a customer, we don't have anything. And it's funny because I had an agent, new agent, who told me, Sonia, I want to learn this. I want you to show me this. I want to learn this. I want this. I did this. I go, whoa, 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 whoa. So you need to focus on getting business, because if you don't have business, all none of this is going to matter. So
Right.
go get business, and then you learn as you're going through it. That's
Yeah,
how you're going to learn. You sit here and study,
you can't.
you can't. Yeah, you absolutely can't. So that's so true. And I love Gary Vee anyways.
Me
He's
too.
great.
Love him.
I actually got to meet him in person. We actually had the absolute privilege of him, talking at one of our Remax
Nice.
events, and we actually ran into him in the hallway. So we were
Oh,
able to take
so
a
cool.
picture with him. So yeah,
Oh,
it was
you're
super
Marlena,
cool.
right?
Yeah,
I saw
yeah,
that picture. Yeah, that's
yeah.
awesome.
But yeah, it's true. He tells it like it is. And him and Les Brown are the two that
Oh,
I
those are my
love to listen
favorites.
to.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they're
they're
my
they're
favorites. I like real people, and he's as real as it gets.
hmm hmm he absolutely is. So, well, thank you so much, Eva, for joining me this morning. I love to share the insight. I love to get different agents' perspectives. There's a lot of agents out there who, feel maybe, gosh, think what am I doing wrong? And then others are just, doing really well. Um, so I just like everyone to know everyone's different. Like you said, everyone's different. And if you feel you're stuck, you definitely need to step back, reanalyze what it is you're doing, change things up a little bit. And what if it scares you, then do that
Yes.
because
Get
that's
out of
where
your
you're
comfort
pushing
zone.
through.
We get
Yes.
stuck in that comfort zone. And I think, and I've been guilty of it, um, do things that make you uncomfortable. And that is going to lead you to growth like 100%
Yeah.
of the time. Yeah, always.
It's funny. I've been going through a lot of different changes as well, for myself and my business and everything else too. A lot of things pushing me out, and so not just me, I mean, not just you guys, me as well. There's a lot of change right now happening. And it's funny because last week I had a dream that like four of my teeth cracked and like fell out of that was my dream. I was like, what the heck? My teeth are cracking and falling out. And so my mom, when I was younger, would always tell us, your dreams mean something, whatever. So
Yeah,
I
they do.
went to look to see what it meant, and it said there's something that you're fear right now. There's a fear that you're pushing through. There's something, that's what it is. And I'm like, oh my gosh, it's so crazy. Like how spot on basically it was, because I have been overthinking a lot of different things that I'm pushing, making myself very uncomfortable with doing, but I'm like, I can do this. And but of course you still have that, like, but it's just kind of one of those things.
Yeah.
But yeah, well, like I said, I hope you have a great rest of the year. And if you need anything, we're always here to support and help. And we're trying to come up with some great things. We're going to be making an announcement for the beginning of the year. We have some great trainings coming on. So pretty excited for what we have to come. Because yes, we have to be um, we have to be self motivated. We have to want to get out of bed in the morning,
Oh,
and
yeah.
that's the part where for me, I love inspirational things and things that I can relate to, like you're saying, things that are more real, things that are realistic. That it's within reach, or it's something like, hey, I can see the average person doing that. It's not something where, okay, no, that's not even going to be, that's not even real. Um,
Oh, and
so
thank you
it's
for saying that because as agents, we need to be relatable. And I think sometimes, not all agents, but there are a few out there who lose touch. And so, I always say, and I'm just going to be blunt, you know me. Would you
yeah,
rather have some bougie agent coming walking up to meet you and your husband? Or do you want a more down to earth agent that's going to be relatable to both of you? And it's going to listen. And, it's funny because, I have the newer car now. And to me, that's as bougie as I'm ever going to get, when I walk up to a client, because usually they'll meet me at a property, but that's not me. You know what I mean? Like me is me. Like once I get out of the car and I start talking to them, it's just kind of like I just feel like they just feel so like, okay, she's not all like,
yeah,
you have to be relatable, I think, and and all inclusive to both parties or any party. Sometimes there's multiple parties involved in a transaction. And I think that you can't alienate anyone. You have to make everybody feel part of the process. And you, as an agent, need to check yourself always and be like, am I relatable? Am I explaining the terms in a way and in a fashion that they can understand? We know our lingo all day, every day, but from their standpoint, they may not know it and may be too embarrassed to ask you at the moment. I never want my clients to feel that way. I always want them to feel like whatever question pops in their brain, please ask it immediately, because there's nothing worse than sitting there and wondering and like, I should have asked, I didn't ask. And how much, like, has that ever happened to you and it bothers you because you didn't ask and could have been the simplest of explanation, but it just gnaws at you?
yeah,
So I always, I say, you know what, if you have that question, probably a lot of other people had the same question you did too. So don't feel embarrassed or ashamed to ask. That's what I'm here for, you know? So transparency is so important, and being relatable to your client. I just can't stress that enough. They need to feel so comfortable with you. Um, but one more thing I wanted to add, because I mean, this is almost one of the last meetings we're having for the Motivational Monday. But I wanted to say thank you. Thank you for always being there for us. Like any questions, like, you know, my last transaction was that I had was not the easiest. And I remember, you know, not every brokerage is the same or every broker is the same. And I really wanted to share this with everybody because we see you as like, you know, yeah, Sonia will call me back. But the things that you pick up on, no one else is going to do. So, just to tell the audience, I was freaking out about a transaction. And, you know, I get my cage rattled when things don't go a certain way because I'm very structured. Anyway, I had made a post about something, and Sonia knew that I was bothered just by that post. And I remember it was like 9:30 at night, and she texted me and she said, "Are you okay? Can you talk?" And then she called me and just talked me down from my, you know, crazy moment of insanity because this transaction was driving me so absolutely insane. Um, but I just wanted to say thank you, because not everybody takes the time to notice. Not everybody picks up on cues that are unspoken. Because I could have gone to bed, you know, that night angry at my, you know, transaction. But after I talked to her, I was like, you know what? Like you said, it's not that serious. Don't lose sleep over it. It'll be fine. And it totally was. But it was in that moment that I just thought, oh my God, the sky is falling. Um, but no, I just think that we take for granted what we
Yeah.
have as far as people being available to us, and you're always available to us. And I wanted to say thank you so much from the bottom of my heart, because I know that I can pick up the phone and call you, and 9 out of 10 times you'll pick up or say, "Can I call you back in, you know, XYZ time?" And you always do. So I wanted to say thank you, and I appreciate you very much.
Oh, thank you, Eva. Yes, thank you. And I'm glad. I'm glad that 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 but any little thing that I can do helps. So I appreciate that. Thank you so much. And yes, it is going to be. I think we have maybe one more episode before the end of the year, and I love doing this. This was something that we brought up because of COVID to try to get like I said, perspectives of every different agent. For they're seeing in the in their business, and so I really love hearing it, and I love their insight and even giving my own feedback because I'm out there in the trenches with you guys. So just try to help you guys, and I really feel, and I tell the agents, it's so important, that I continue to work in the field as well because I feel I don't have value if I don't, because things change so quickly.
Yeah.
So you have to be able to roll with it and understand what you're going through, and be able to provide, some type of feedback and value by what I'm seeing and what I'm doing that is effective. So again, thank you so much, and thank you guys all for joining us. I truly appreciate you guys. And if you guys need anything, let us know. We want to wish you a great week. December will be here on Wednesday, so yeah, so be ready for it. And Christmas isn't just about gifts, it's about giving, giving,
Oh, yeah.
whether, like we're saying, whether it's giving a call, a text, a thought, giving that means more than anything else. So everyone have a beautiful one. We'll see you guys
All
soon.
right. Okay. Bye.
Bye.